Hello
Hello
there.
there.
I made a thing. I made an intelligent, self-refilling storage system for the Create mod. I saw Tango Tech's Create mod series, and after playing my own world for a bit, I was inspired to make my very own dream design. Each module calls for the exact amount of resources that it needs to make the product, and then it stores it. I'm totally working on my version of Tango's second floor because this was so much fun to figure out. It works by sending a timed and calibrated redstone pulse to the receiver to get the corresponding funnel to release a controlled amount of resources to be sent down the line.
It's really quite simple.
This was so much fun to build, and I'm so excited to share it with whoever wants to use it. So I made it as accessible and scalable as possible. You can change the order of some of the modules depending on what resources you value the most. For example, if you wanted bricks more than terracotta and therefore redstone and therefore gold, then you can just switch them around. Many of the modules are scalable too. This factory is quite the stress unit hog though, so I made some less SU hungry versions with the trade-off being production speed. So, if you're ready to build this, both the world download and all the schematics will be linked in the description. Feel free to hop off the video now to grab those schematics and start building. I really hope you enjoy it. But if you want to learn how to customize anything, or you run into some problems and you need to troubleshoot, this next part of the video is for you. Don't worry, I'll mark the chapters. Oh look, a time-lapse! This time-lapse footage was roughly 8 hours long and just gives you a bit of an idea of how fast it could get up and running. So, while that's rolling, let me tell you what this factory is good at, how to customize it, and a few warnings to consider. Let's talk about what it's good at first. Because it's modular, it can be built in many custom configurations. It's highly customizable, and it's meant to be as feature-packed or as minimalist as you want. You can add display boards, running indicator lights, or different storage interfaces. It's also meant to adapt to your needs as you build it, so you can build as much or as little as you want on your time. For example, if you just want an iron farm, you just need to build the relevant modules. And most importantly, it's efficient. Each module is calibrated to balance production speed and efficiency. I'll be including a chart with all these settings after the time-lapse. If you're going to build this, there's a few things I have to warn you about. First things first, you're going to want to give the Cobblestone module a good 3 to 5 minute head start, which you'll end up doing anyways if you're building it one module at a time. Unfortunately, when using schematics, you're probably going to have to flip all the threshold switches to reset them. Don't forget the ones in the back. I'm not sure how to prevent that, so if somebody knows, definitely let me know in the comments. Also, when pasting in the schematic, sometimes the redstone torches just don't work. I have no answers. And my last warning is to follow the chart. Nothing should clog if you follow it, but if you don't follow it, you have a high likelihood of clogging the entire system. Lastly, there's a few weaknesses of this factory to consider, especially if you're building one of the more bare-bones versions. This factory is not without its bottlenecks, the biggest one being clay ball production. This module is quite the sand hog, so especially if soul sand is running, it might be a bit slow. The clay block and diorite modules are two more bottlenecks to keep an eye on. The last weakness of this factory is unfortunately it wastes about a stack of quartz for every 10,000 diorite you make, which isn't much, but it can really clog up the system if left unchecked. That's why I've added this check here to keep it from clogging up. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for, the chart. Okay, so here is the chart of all the settings that you'll need to customize this factory. I'll be referring to this many times, so feel free to take a screenshot if you're on the computer. So, without further ado, let's get into detail about how to understand this chart and how to use it to customize your own factory. Here you can see the machine name, what it produces, how many variations it has, how much SU it'll eat up, and, most importantly, what to set the call system at to prevent clogging. I'll go over each one in a minute. First, let's understand the anatomy of a module. This is the call system. This threshold switch tells the module when it needs to produce more resources. Feel free to set this to as much or as little as you need, with the caveat being that you need to leave at least a 15% unfilled buffer. When this piston extends, it enables the redstone clock to pulse. These pulses are what I called tempo in the chart. Set this redstone repeater to the number in the tempo column. There's no need to change the pulse extender. This redstone link calls for the base material. Set this slot to whichever item you'd like to call for, while this one tells the system that that specific base material is already being called somewhere else and not to call anymore. While items flow into this funnel, don't forget to set the filter, the items travel through the vault and out the funnel in the back where the processing machine is. This threshold switch is responsible for turning on and off the machine in the back. Set this threshold switch to this configuration for most modules. I like to give a 1 or 2% buffer to the modules that use 2 items like diorite, granite, and andesite. This on-off switch has 2 variations. You'll only need to use the second one with the pulse extender if you want your machine to run a little bit longer after the last item is dispensed. When the product reaches this point in the threshold switch, the machine will turn off. The piston retracts, stopping the calls, and this pulse extender will turn on to make sure no more items get picked up. And lastly, if the product needs to get culled, this redstone link will pick up the pulse and allow for a single stack to be sent down the line. Whew, okay, almost done. Time to go through each module. As a general rule, if you're going to select one of the low SU options for one of the modules, you should choose it for all of them. But feel free to try things out. Let me know if you find a good combo. I used Tangotech's design for a lot of the components you'll see here. He was a huge inspiration. Thanks, Tango. Huge fan. Anyways. So using Tangotech's design for the Cobblestone Generator, I gave it a bit of a create mod redstone clock, which was really fun to figure out because I wound up needing it for the call system I just explained. Just letting the items out freely, it made a mess. There were items everywhere. There are 2 main variations, but feel free to scale it to your liking. For the tempo, set the repeater to 16 ticks. 14 ticks if you can keep an eye on it. The mechanical piston breaks itself at 12 ticks. And while I haven't seen it break at 14 ticks yet, just keep an eye on it. Set the pulse extender to 5 ticks. The crusher has a few variations. The base model is a set of 3 with the tempo set to 25 ticks. The optimal model for cobblestone to gravel is a set of 10 at 3 ticks. And for gravel to sand, a set of 8 will do with a tempo of 6 ticks. Terracotta to red sand can always use the set of 3 at 16 ticks. The fans have 2 variations. Uncontrolled lets the items just fall out. But because this funnel only lets 1 stack of items occupy a space before dispensing more, it works out that it'll start up before the items can despawn. All uncontrolled fans have a tempo of 5 seconds. The controlled variation doesn't care what the funnel thinks. All of the stacks get stacked up and processed. These are the tempos that I found to work the best. There's no real reason to go any slower than 2 ticks, only to make sure that the modules before it can keep up. With either variation, you'll lose the last 3 stacks of a run cycle if you opt for the simple shutoff. You might want to choose the shutoff with the pulse extender. Diorite uses the crafter, which is definitely a bottleneck. With only one 2x2 crafter, its tempo is 40 seconds. But with 5, the tempo can jump to 8 seconds. If you want to risk faster tempos, you can, but you're basically stockpiling base materials, so make sure you leave a good 20% empty buffer to the vault to make room for that stockpile. But I don't particularly recommend this. Andesite is slightly complicated. Use this specific machine. Set the flint funnel to 6 and the gravel funnel to 3, and set this clock to 6 ticks, and set the call tempo to 14 seconds. The clay block module is much more simple. When using 3 compactors, set the tempo to 50 ticks, and when using 6 compactors, set the tempo to 26 ticks. Granite uses the mixer. Set both funnels to 9. Set this clock to 45 ticks, and the call tempo to 19 seconds. Yep, 19 specifically. Lastly, Flint. You'll get so much from iron nugget production, just put a garbage chute on it. Whew, okay, all done. I know that was a lot. Thanks for sticking through it. I hope you have enough info to be able to customize this to your own needs. There are so many combinations to try. And if you try something different, let me know how it goes. This project was so much fun to work on. Building the factory was a blast. And with this being my first YouTube video, hi YouTube, let me know if I need to go into any more detail. I'd be happy to. If you end up building this in your world, I'd love to hear about it. Take care and have fun. Bye.
I don't like to do editing.